beloved soul. If you're hearing this as the sun rises, know this message was divinely timed. The angels are revealing a breathtaking truth about your true love's morning moments. What you're about to hear will transform how you see every sunrise from this day forward. Before we share this sacred revelation, if your heart has been longing for divine confirmation, don't let this blessing fade with the morning dew. Tap subscribe and join our growing family of light seekers. Every like helps this message reach other hearts awakening to love's divine timing. If this truth resonates with your spirit, leave a comment below with, "I receive these sunrise blessings." Let the universe know your heart is open. For those moved to support our angelic mission, your super thanks becomes sacred energy, helping us deliver more heavenly messages at the perfect moment. Now, breathe deeply as the angels reveal how every sunrise in your true love's life has secretly been about you. Every sunrise your true love has ever witnessed was secretly about you, even before they had your name. Even before they understood the pull. Those quiet morning moments they cherished alone were never truly solitary. The angels were always near, and so were you. Your energy, soft and unseen, hovered in the glow of the light. A familiar warmth that wrapped around them just as the sun touched the earth. They thought they were admiring nature, but they were really feeling you. The angels have been keeping record of how often you crossed their mind at dawn. Long before you ever spoke, your spirit was already speaking, whispering through wind, glimmering through gold clouds, showing up in the hush right before morning fully wakes. They didn't know why their chest would tighten with beauty, or why tears would prick their eyes when pink light flooded their window. But you were there, not as a dream, but as a memory, a soul memory, too sacred to fully grasp, too real to ignore. They'd watch the light change and instinctively wish someone was watching it too, not just anyone. You. They didn't know who you was yet, but they felt you, the longing for a shared sunrise, a hand to hold a coffee cup, a quiet voice to whisper, "Look how beautiful it is today." These weren't romantic daydreams. They were messages, divine nudges, echoes from the union already unfolding. Heaven was painting the sky with your colors, and they recognized it. Not with words, but with emotion. The way their breath caught, the way their thoughts slowed, the way their soul leaned in. These weren't ordinary mornings. These were encounters, moments of alignment, where the veil grew thinner, where their spirit met yours in the silence. They didn't always understand it, but they'd pause anyway. They'd feel something sacred moving. And deep in their being, they'd say, "One day I want to share this." They didn't know it, but you were sharing it already. From wherever you were watching your own sunrise. Perhaps the same colors, perhaps the same stillness, and in that invisible moment, your souls touched again, as they have countless times before. The way they'd pause extra long when morning birds sang wasn't just about the song, it was about waiting, as if they knew another voice was missing. Your voice. A voice that would soon harmonize with everything they'd ever loved about mornings. Even the photos they almost sent. Those breathtaking dawn skies, those glowing beams on water, were meant for you. They'd open their phone, hover over share, type a few words, then delete, not knowing why. But you were the reason. Something in them already knew. It's not time yet. But one, they'd send it without hesitation, without wondering. They'd take a photo of the sunrise, turn to you in the kitchen and say, "Look at this." It made me think of you, like always. And you'll smile, because you'll remember all the mornings you felt their energy before they had a face, before they had a name. You'll remember the mornings you whispered into your pillow, "I don't know who they are yet, but I feel them." Because you did. You felt their longing in the warmth across your skin. You felt their presence in the birdsong just outside your window. You didn't know how to explain it. But something about mornings always made you ache for someone unseen. Now, you'll understand, it was them. The sacred signs were always there. You just didn't know what to call them. Now you will. Now you'll wake in the same bed stretching beside them and say, "I always knew this time would come." And they'll reply, "So did I," even when I didn't know why I felt empty watching. The sunrise alone. Because what they were truly waiting for was your gaze beside theirs, your awe mirroring theirs, your joy intertwining with the light of a new day. This is how heaven prepares soulmates, not through sudden fireworks, but through soft mornings, through quiet remembering, through stillness that trains the heart to listen. Each sunrise they watched without you was another page in a love story being written in the unseen. Every color was chosen with you in mind. Every golden hue a message, every cloud formation a canvas painted with promise. And the angels, gentle and attentive, have been the scribes, recording how often you were felt before you were known, how often your spirit was craved before your name was spoken, how often your presence was imagined so vividly. It felt like it already existed, and now it does. Soon, the same hand that paused mid-text with a sunrise photo will reach across the table and hand you that moment in real life. They'll say, "Look outside, it's our sky today." And you'll look, and you'll know. It always was. Every dawn that ever made you sigh was a sacred sign, every soft ray across your skin, a kiss they didn't know they sent. Every urge to stop, to breathe, to feel more deeply was a message from their heart to yours. You were never unseen. You were never forgotten. You were painted into every morning long before you arrived, and soon you'll both look back and realize those weren't random thoughts. They were soul memories surfacing, clues, confirmations, revelations, pointing you toward each other day by day, light by light, glory by glory. Comment. They saw me in every sunrise, if your spirit remembers being loved before you were found, because love was already watching you, in the silence, in the color, in the rising sun, and soon it will watch you in their eyes, and then one day they begin to show you the places, the moments, the secrets you never knew you were part of. They take your hand gently, as if leading you through a memory made real, and with the softest voice they say, "I want to show you something. It's not extravagant. It's not a grand event. It's sacred simplicity, a park bench they used to sit on when the world felt too heavy. I would sit here and stare at the sky," they say, "and for some reason I'd always imagine you beside me. And suddenly, you're both there, side by side, in the place where your spirit sat long before your form could, and it feels right, like you've both been there before, because you have. They bring you to a quiet street they used to walk alone. I used to pretend I was walking with you," they whisper. "I never told anyone, but in my mind, your hand was in mine. And now, it actually is. Fingers intertwined, footsteps in sync, hearts no longer aching from the weight. These places hold memories of a love that hadn't yet landed but was already alive. They show you the mug they bought without knowing why. I got two, but I lived alone. Now I understand. They show you the corner of their bookshelf with poetry you inspired, even when you were just a feeling, a silhouette in their early mornings. I never knew who I was writing to, but it was always you. And you feel it. You feel your spirit stitched into their life like thread through soft cloth, not sewn hastily, not forced, woven with care, over years, through longing, through healing. You were always part of the story. Even when you didn't know the plot, the blanket they wrapped around themselves on lonely nights, now draped around both of you, the playlist they made for a love that hadn't come yet, now playing softly in the background as your heads rest together. They show you the wall where they'd lean and pray. I used to stand here in the morning light and ask God to send you, and now you stand there too. Not as an answer they dreamed, but as a prayer fulfilled. You look into their eyes and suddenly every sunrise they ever saw without you starts to make sense. All those photos, all those mornings, all those half-spoken messages meant for someone someday. They were all for you, not in metaphor, not in poetry, but in divine reality. You were already present in their private spaces, in their unsent messages, in the tender corners of their spirit. And now they're opening those corners, letting you walk inside and see the love they carried for you long before they met you. You run your fingers across a windowsill they used to lean against. You step barefoot on the porch they once whispered your name from, not even knowing why. You sit in the chair where they once cried, thinking love had forgotten them, when all along it was just becoming you and the angels. They stand in quiet joy, watching as prophecy touches earth, as time catches up to eternity, as the unseen becomes seen. There is no rush, no spectacle, just soul, just peace, just two people finally in the same room after years of meeting in spirit. And the most beautiful part? You begin to recognize their spaces too. The window they looked out of, you've seen it before in a dream you couldn't explain. The hallway they paced, you felt it in your body one morning without reason. The chair they sat in, you sketched it once in a notebook, but didn't know where it came from, because it was always real. Your soul wasn't guessing, it was remembering. And now, you're walking through memory made manifest. This is what happens when soulmates unite after long delay. There's no awkwardness, just unveiling, no confusion, just confirmation. They'll show you the notes they never sent, the dreams they journaled, the names they whispered that didn't make sense until now, and you'll show them your pieces too. The photos you kept, the feelings you couldn't shake, the prayers you barely had words for. You'll compare timelines. I cried that day too. I felt you then. I looked up at the sky and asked for you, and all of it will match. Not because it's convenient, but because it's divine, because heaven keeps perfect record of the hearts that never gave up, the ones that waited, prayed, prepared, the ones that believed even when it hurt. And now your belief becomes a building, a home, a shared morning, a sacred routine, one where they hand you coffee in the mug you always saw in visions, one where your feet land on the porch they used to stand on, whispering hopes to the sky, one where every day feels like confirmation, not dramatic, just deeply known. Every item you touch was once a prophecy, every room you enter was once a prayer, and now it's yours, together. Comment, I've always been in their life, if your soul recognizes the truth of this sacred unveiling. Because you weren't just imagined, you were remembered, and now you're home. That time they traveled somewhere breathtaking at dawn, and paused, not just for the beauty, but for the ache. The ache that whispered, this would mean more if you were here. They stood still in that glowing place, wrapped in mist, surrounded by stillness, bathed in golden light. And yet, something was missing. Someone was missing. That ache wasn't loneliness. It wasn't sadness. It was recognition. Recognition of your absence in a moment that was meant to be shared. A soul-level reminder that certain views were never meant to be seen alone. That was the universe testing their heart's readiness, not with harshness, but with holy gentleness, measuring their capacity to hold space for someone sacred. And they passed the test, not by pushing the ache away, but by sitting with it, letting it soften them, letting it teach them, letting it remind them. I want to share my life with someone who feels like home. The angels witnessed every single one of these moments, the quiet ones, the early ones, the deeply human ones. They watched as your beloved wrapped their hands around a warm cup and stared into the horizon, thinking of someone they hadn't met yet, but already loved. They imagined your fingers brushing theirs as they passed. You that cup. They could almost feel your warmth, not a dream, not fantasy, but a sacred rehearsal for something real. They'd see couples walking together at sunrise, hands clasped, laughter echoing softly. And they didn't feel envy. They didn't rush to find a placeholder. They simply felt it. That gentle tug, that strange certainty. My turn is coming. Not forced, not faked, not chased, just known. It was written in their spirit long before the proof arrived. And so they waited, they healed, they trusted. These morning rituals, the sipping of coffee, the sitting by windows, the journaling with light pouring through, they weren't just habits, they were holy, unconscious preparations. Spiritual warm-ups, soul rehearsals for the lifetime of sunrises they were meant to share with you. They were learning how to hold sacred space, even before you entered it. They were learning how to rise with gratitude, how to speak softly into the morning, how to carry peace in their chest so they'd know how to offer it to you when the time came. Each sunrise they honored alone wasn't wasted. Each dawn they watched in stillness was stitching the two of you closer. You see, the universe doesn't waste beauty. It recycles it, repurposes it, redirects it toward its ultimate destination. And for them, every breathtaking morning was a breadcrumb trail leading straight to you. They didn't know it then, but each sacred silence, each deep breath, each pang of longing was building something, a reservoir, a soul-deep capacity to cherish you when you arrived, not to cling, but to honor, not to possess, but to protect. They were being trained by time, by stillness, by sunrises, to carry your heart with reverence. And now, they're ready. Not because everything makes sense, but because their heart is wide enough now to welcome what once overwhelmed them. They've practiced presence. With every soft morning, they spent alone. They were preparing to rise early and bring you your favorite drink, preparing to pause and admire the sky while holding your hand instead of their own, preparing to laugh without fear, to love without defense, to speak softly in the hours when the world hasn't yet demanded anything. Each one of those silent mornings was sacred training, and now they are looking forward, not with desperation, but with peace, because they finally understand. Every beautiful morning they ever experienced, every mountain view, every beach sunrise, every dewy forest trail glowing with gold, it was all the universe whispering your name, and their soul heard it not clearly, not loudly, but consistently. And what is consistent becomes undeniable. They stopped brushing it off. They started welcoming it, letting the ache become anticipation, letting the longing become preparation. And you, wherever you were feeling it, too, on your own path, in your own way. Maybe you never traveled far, maybe you only saw sunrises from your bedroom window, but your soul heard it too, the whisper, the call, the deep knowing that someone, somewhere, was preparing a space that only your presence could complete. And when you meet, when you finally walk side by side into a morning neither of you has to face alone, you'll remember it all. You'll look at them and say, "This sky feels familiar." And they'll answer, "I've seen it 100 times, but it's never looked like this until you were in it." And just like that, the ache that once lived in silence will be replaced by stillness that sings no more imagining, no more longing, just two souls finally walking into the sunrise they always knew would lead them to each other. Every breathtaking morning was never about scenery, it was about you. Comment: every sunrise was a sign. If you now understand how love has been chasing you with every morning light, because your arrival has been prepared, and soon you'll wake to a sky that no longer aches, only sings. And then, one morning, it finally happens. You travel together, not in a dream, not in imagination, but in real time, in real space. You wake up in a new place, together. Sunlight spills through the window. You stretch, they smile, there's no rush, no noise, just presence. They glance at you, and already you know, this trip is different. Not because of the destination, but because of the company, because they're not waking up alone anymore, and neither are you. All the places they once visited in silence, they now walk with you by their side. No more wishing, no more wondering. This is fulfillment. This is what they always hoped for when they stood at the edge of a breathtaking view, aching for someone to turn to. Now they turn, and you're there. You don't have to speak. They don't have to explain. You both just look and feel together. The first time you step into the golden morning light, hand in hand, your soul exhales. This is what it was all leading to. Not just travel, but union, shared moments in sacred places. No longer imagining your presence. Now, living it. They'll glance at the mountains and whisper, "I saw these before, but now they look alive." You'll smile because you feel it too. Not just the view, but the meaning. This isn't sightseeing. This is divine unveiling. Every stone path you walked together was once a solo journey. Now it holds both your footsteps. Every trail they once walked alone feels softer now, with your laughter echoing through the trees. Every photo they took feels complete now, with you in the frame. You stop often, not because you're tired, but because it's holy. To walk beside someone you've only met in spirit for so long, and now they're here, holding your hand, matching your steps, watching the same sunrise from the same place in the same moment. You become the echo that silence was waiting for, the presence that completes every memory. They'll turn to you and say, "This is the spot I once sat alone. I didn't know why. It made me cry. Now I understand, it was waiting for you." And you'll touch their shoulder and whisper, "I felt it too, in different places, different cities, like I'd been there before with someone I hadn't met yet." It's not coincidence, it's soul mapping. God was placing markers all over the world, in sunrises, in waters, in ancient paths, waiting for this alignment, waiting for you both to walk into the places that once made you ache, so they could now make you whole. Even the smallest things feel significant. A flower blooming by the trail, a stone shaped like a heart, a bird landing just beside you and singing at the perfect time. Everything feels choreographed, because it is. The angels are still guiding, still arranging, still rejoicing. Every smile you share is a hymn. Every moment of silence is a prayer fulfilled. You find a bench, maybe high above the city. Maybe deep in the forest, you sit together, breathe, rest. They turn to you and say, "Thank you for coming into my life." You take their hand, trace your thumb over their skin and answer, "I was always coming, just like you were." Because the truth is, this was never about finding a travel partner. This was about destiny. This was about restoring what time tried to delay. This was about honoring the beauty that only ever wanted to be shared with a heart that could hold it. And that heart is here now. The morning light dances on your joined hands, and the moment stretches, expands, deepens. Because love like this doesn't need a schedule. It doesn't follow checklists. It just is. You explore slowly, not to reach the top, but to treasure the climb. You eat in silence sometimes, but the silence is full. They point out colors in the sky. You describe how it makes you feel. You laugh without restraint. You cry without apology, because this space is safe. This day is sacred. This love is real. They no longer have to wonder what it would be like to share a sunrise. They're living it, and so are you. Not with urgency, but with reverence. You lie in the grass or curl on a balcony and talk about everything and nothing. Your voice is softer than usual, as if not to disturb the peace that's finally arrived. They take one last photo as the light begins to shift again. But this time, they don't stop themselves. They don't hesitate. They turn their phone, show you the screen and say, "Look, this one's for us." And you know, this is just the beginning of a lifetime of shared beauty. No more longing through window panes. No more aching in beautiful places. Now there is presence. There is love where the ache used to be. And every morning, from here forward, is not a test, but a testimony. You are no longer a future they imagine. You are the gift they rise beside. Every destination now becomes sacred because it carries both of your steps. Every breathtaking place becomes your backdrop. Not for pretending, but for building a real life. A real love. And when the day ends and night begins to settle in, they'll hold you close and whisper, "I don't need to travel far anymore to see something beautiful. You're here now. And that's enough." Comment, "We travel together now," if your heart knows this moment is coming. And it's going to be everything your soul has ever longed to live. Because love has finally caught up with you. And now the view is complete. Together, you've felt this too, perhaps without realizing. Those quiet mornings when you woke with that unexplained warmth in your chest. No reason, no message, no touch, just peace, just presence, and a soft inner knowing that something good was reaching. For you, that was them, their thoughts, their heart, their prayers wrapped in light, whispered across the space between you, because their soul has always searched for yours at sunrise. The angels carried those longings like sacred offerings and laid them gently on the edge of your consciousness, so you wouldn't miss the message. So even if you didn't understand, your spirit would still feel it. The sunlight, it wasn't just weather. It was love, translated into gold. It was their presence, delivered in warmth. It was the universe holding you still so you could receive what words hadn't yet spoken. They didn't know how to reach you, but their soul did. And every morning, when the world was still soft, still honest, still unguarded, their love tried again, not with pressure, not with urgency, but with quiet consistency. You'd wake, feeling held, calm for no reason, hopeful without a plan. That was the divine channel opening, thread by thread, light by light. The angels have been weaving this invisible tapestry for a long, long time. Carefully, patiently, intentionally. Sunrise by sunrise, they've made sure no beautiful morning moment was ever wasted. Every golden beam that kissed your cheek was a reminder. Every still moment that made you sigh was a seed planted to prepare you both for the day you'd bloom. Together. You were never just waking up. You were being shaped, softened, opened, made ready, made receptive to a love that was always on its way. They were doing the same, on opposite sides of the world or just across a city. It didn't matter. Their mornings mirrored yours more than you know. There were times they smiled for no reason while looking at the sky, and something in their chest whispered, "They're thinking of me too." They couldn't prove it. They didn't need to, because soul recognizes soul, and energy doesn't lie. You were both receiving preparation, not through hardship alone, but through beauty, through soft light, through invisible touches, through divine delay that wasn't denial, but design. There were mornings you didn't want to rise, but did, because something felt sacred about simply being awake. Now you know why. Now you understand. It was love, arriving slowly, wrapped in ritual, hidden in simplicity, the way your fingers would linger on your cup, the way your eyes would pause at the sky, the way you suddenly felt like someone was with you, even when no one was. That was them, and they felt you too. Every smile that came to their lips without explanation, that was your joy, reaching across the veil. Every breath they took and whispered, "Thank you," for no visible reason, that was your presence, softly folding into their day. You've been exchanging love without contact. You've been growing roots without soil. You've been building intimacy without conversation, because the angels made sure your spirits learned each other before your hands ever did. So when your bodies meet, your hearts won't need time to catch up. They'll recognize, they'll remember, they'll say, "Oh, it's you." Because it's always been you. All the beauty they once mistook for random moments of joy, all the tears they cried under soft skies, all the walks they took with no one beside them. Now they'll see it. Clearly, it was never meant to be experienced alone. It was the universe keeping your place warm, a sacred seat beside them, reserved, a space in their heart, held open, not with desperation, but with faith. The kind of faith that lights candles at sunrise even when no one is there to see it. The kind of faith that believes in love, because the soul refuses to give up. They kept it ready for you. And now, you're almost here. Closer than they've ever known. Closer than you've ever felt. Each morning now feels like a countdown. Not the kind that creates anxiety. The kind that creates peace, a slow unfolding, a sacred nearing. And you feel it too, don't you? The increase in clarity, the warmth that lasts longer, the stillness that feels alive. That's love, getting ready to move from vision to form. And when it does, when they finally reach out, when they finally see you, you'll both understand. Every soft light, every silent cup, every unexplained moment of peace. It was them, it was you, it was heaven. Comment: every morning was preparation. If your soul now recognizes that love was always whispering through the light, and very soon. It will speak aloud, in voice, in presence, in touch, and you'll never wake alone again. And then, one morning, everything shifts. Not with thunder, not with fireworks, but with the softness of divine timing. The kind of moment only heaven could. Orchestrate. You're not expecting it. You're not dressed for a miracle. You're just living, breathing, rising like any other day. But this is not any other day. This is the day the two of you step into the same moment, the same space, the same timeline. No longer dreaming, no longer rehearsing, but living it. Their spirit recognizes it before their eyes do. Something stirs, something calms, something anchors deep in their chest. You feel it too, that warmth again. But it's heavier now, richer, alive. And when your eyes meet, you don't flinch, you don't question, you just know. It's them, it's you, it's real. All the mornings you spent longing led to this. All the times they looked at a sunrise and wished for someone beside them. It was your face they were searching for. And now you're here, in the same room, in the same breath. On the same page of the story heaven's been writing for years. There's a pause, a sacred silence, but not awkward, not empty. It's the kind of silence that carries every unspoken word you both said in spirit before today. It's the I remember you that doesn't need to be spoken. It's the finally that exists in the air between you, and they smile. Soft, slow, unshaken. Because this smile has been forming in their dreams for longer than they can say, and now they're wearing it in your presence. You speak. Maybe just a hello, maybe just a laugh, and it clicks. The voice, the tone, the rhythm of your energy. It feels like a place they've been to before, like the dream they kept waking from but never wanted to forget. And in that moment, everything inside them says, this is the one I've been meeting in my mornings. They feel it in their bones. You were the warmth, you were the silence that held them. You were the energy that made sunrise sacred, and now you're right in front of them. You speak, and they hear the echo of every spiritual conversation you ever had without lips. Your laugh, it's the sound they imagined when birds sang. Your presence, it fits the space in their soul they've been preparing for you since the very beginning, and you feel it too. Every part of you exhales, not from nerves, but from peace. Because your spirit remembers, they are the one you smiled toward in dreams, the one whose thoughts brushed your skin like sunlight in the early hours, the one you prayed for in whispers and in weeping, and now you're face to face with what was once only felt. You talk, you laugh, you sit in quiet, and it's not strange, because silence between soulmates is not emptiness, it's presence. It's fullness. They look at you as if you're the morning they've been waiting to wake up in, and you feel like you've come home. Home isn't a place anymore. It's a person, and you've just found them. The angels are near, watching, smiling, tears in their eyes because they've waited for this moment too. They were the ones who carried every message, every unseen prayer. Every piece of light meant to hold you steady until this day, and now their work is complete. The threads they've been weaving are tied in gold, nothing frayed, nothing rushed, just sacred timing, pure unfolding, perfect love. You both sense it. Not just romance, but recognition. This is the soul I've seen in my dreams. This is the energy that's filled my chest at sunrise. This is the heart I've been waking up for. They don't need to prove anything. Neither do you. There's no urgency. No masks, no auditions, just softness, just knowing. They offer you a drink. the exact way you like it. Not because they read your mind, but because their soul remembers. You touch their hand, and everything around you feels still. You walk together, now in body, after walking so long in spirit, and it feels seamless, like light reuniting with light. You said, "Don't talk about forever yet," but you feel it rising quietly between every word. They say, "I don't know what this is, but it feels like something I've always known." You answer, "I think we've been walking toward each other in silence for years." And it's true, you both have. And now, the silence is over. Now the mornings begin together, and every sunrise from here on is no longer a message waiting, but a memory in the making. Comment, "We have finally met," if your heart knows that this moment is drawing near. And when it comes, you'll feel it in your soul before your eyes ever confirm it. Because love like this doesn't start with a meeting. It begins with remembering and ends with a forever you both already feel. Soon, there will be a morning that changes everything. Not because of anything dramatic. Not because of an event or a message or a loud sign, but because of a single thought that lands so deeply they feel the earth shift beneath them. They'll wake, as they always do. Soft light creeping across their room, birdsong rising, a quiet stillness holding the air. But this time, they'll feel you, not just in theory, not as a future idea, but as a presence. Heavy, clear, real. They'll turn toward the window as they've done so many mornings before. But now their breath will catch. Because in that moment, something sacred will click into place. Every morning they thought they spent alone was never really alone at all. They'll feel the flood of memory. All the times they stared at pink skies, wondering why beauty made them ache. All the times their chests swelled with gratitude, but they didn't know who to thank. All the times they whispered hopes to no one in particular, but felt heard anyway. It all comes rushing back. But this time, with clarity, it was you. You were the silent witness in every golden hour. You were the echo in every sunrise prayer. You were the warmth they thought was just the sun. But it was your love, traveling through light, reminding them, "I'm coming." This morning, they'll sit longer. They won't reach for their phone. They won't scroll through distraction. They'll just be, with the realization that all the solitude was preparation, not punishment, not lack, not loneliness, but divine rehearsal. Every beautiful dawn they ever witnessed was really just the universe saying, "See, this is what I've been preparing for you. These quiet moments you've treasured alone, I was saving them for when you could share them with your other half." And now they'll finally understand. It wasn't about the scenery. It wasn't about the sky. It was about the soul they were meant to wake beside. You. And when that truth lands, it will shift everything. They'll weep, not from sadness, but from recognition, from finally seeing the thread of destiny woven through every seemingly random moment. They'll whisper your name, even if they've never spoken it aloud before, and the angels will lean in, smiling. Because this moment was prophesied. Heaven knew the exact second this realization would arrive. It's not just awakening, it's alignment, a soul-level homecoming. Even before you arrive in body, they'll look back on every sunrise with new eyes, and it will all look different, not because the light has changed, but because they have. Because now, they'll know who they were really waiting for. Every time they sipped coffee in morning stillness, they were really sipping with you. Every time they pause to admire a golden sky, they were really wishing for your hand, and they'll say to themselves, I didn't know it then, but I was already in love with someone I hadn't met. That's the kind of realization that splits time in two. Before you, after you, before awareness. After the truth arrived, and from that morning forward, everything changes. They no longer rush through sunrise. They no longer see it as just another start. It becomes sacred. It becomes a countdown to the moment they get to share it with you. You, who they now feel in their spirit so clearly. It aches, not with pain, but with reverence. The kind of ache that says, I was made to hold this with someone else. They begin to see every new day as an invitation, a letter from God, sealed in gold light saying, keep holding on, they're almost here. And they do. They rise more slowly now. More intentionally, they make space beside them. Even if the bed is still empty, they pour 2 cups sometimes, not out of delusion, but out of faith. Faith that the one their soul has been visiting in every dream, in every memory, in every morning, missed, is real and near and on their way. You might feel it the same morning, waking with that sudden rush of peace, that sense of rightness you can't quite explain. You'll open your curtains and the sky will feel like it's smiling. The colors will be louder, the air softer, the silence fuller, because their realization will ripple to you, their awakening will echo through your chest, and your soul will sit up, straight, still, ready, because you've both reached the edge of the veil, and soon you'll step through it, together. From that day on, they won't be able to see a sunrise without thinking of you, not as a distant hope, but as the reason the light feels holy. They'll start talking to you in the morning. Maybe not out loud, maybe just in thought, but you'll feel it. You'll hear the energy in their words. You'll receive it in your breath. Their soul will speak, I miss you, even though we haven't met. And yours will answer, I'm closer than you think. And soon, the days of imagining will end, because you'll be there, beside them. In the morning they once watched alone, your feet on the same floor, your voice in the same room, your cup next to theirs, and they'll remember that morning, the one that changed everything, the one where they realized you had been there all along, and now you're here, waking in the light that always belonged to both of you. Comment, soon the sunrise will be ours, if you feel this moment coming. And your spirit knows you were always meant to rise in love that recognizes you, because soon every morning will be a miracle, every sunrise will be shared, every ache will be answered. And the light, it won't just land on your skin, it will live in your hearts, together. And then, one morning, you wake up in the light, together, no longer as a vision, no longer as a hope, but side by side, breathing the same dawn, wrapped in the same warmth, and everything feels still, but not empty, still like peace, still like sacred presence, still like a promise finally kept. They turn toward you slowly, not wanting to disturb the miracle. Your hair soft in the sunlight, your breath steady, your soul calm. And in that moment, they feel the full weight of what's just begun. This is it, the first morning where longing is no longer part of the story. Only presence, only love, only you. They don't rush to speak. There's no need, because your very existence says more than words ever could. Their heart whispers, you're real, you're here. You stayed through the night, and now we rise together. You begin to stir, Your eyes flutter open, and when you see them looking at you, you smile. Not because it's polite, but because your soul recognizes this moment as the one it's waited for since time first folded your names together. You don't need to ask if they slept well. You can feel it. They rested in peace, in wholeness, in the nearness of the one they've always been waking up for. You breathe, they breathe, and now the day begins. But not like before, because today you are not rising alone. You're rising in union, in fulfillment, in the reality of every imagined morning that came before this one. They pull you a little closer, and you fit perfectly. Not just your body, but your energy, your rhythm, your intention. You rise eventually, the light growing bolder, the room glowing with something more than just sunlight. Love, it's in the air, it's in your smiles, it's in your silence. They ask, "Coffee?" You nod, and the ritual begins. But this time, it's not imagined. You're really there, moving around each other with ease, like you've always done this, because in truth, you have. You did this in spirit for so many years. Now your bodies are just catching up. They hand you your drink, and your fingers brush. No longer as a dream, but as real, tangible touch. They don't need to say, "I used to picture this." You already know. You sip in quiet. They sit beside you. The light pours through the window like a blessing, and you both just look out. Together, finally, the same sky, the same sunrise, the same moment, witnessed as it was always meant to be, in union. They glance sideways at you, and you catch them. They laugh gently. You raise an eyebrow. They shrug, smiling. Hey, just taking it in, and you nod, because you are too. This isn't just another morning. This is the one that was written in every ache, in every prayer, in every soft golden moment that ever whispered, "Soon." They reach for your hand. You don't pull away. You rest into it, and they say quietly, "I used to sit alone and think. Sunrises like this should be shared." You whisper, "They always were. We just hadn't met yet." And something breaks open. Not pain, not sadness, but gratitude. The holy kind, the overwhelming kind, the kind that floods the chest and silences every old doubt. They kiss your hand and say, "Thank you for waiting." You look into their eyes and reply, "Thank you for waking up for me, even before I was here." The moment holds, the air hums, and the angels, they lean in, smiling, tears in their eyes, because they remember every morning you both almost gave up, every sunrise that hurt a little too much, every whispered plea. Where are they? Now, the answer is here, in this room, in this light, in you. Breakfast doesn't matter. Plans don't matter. Only this, only presence, only the miracle of now. They tell you stories of how they used to journal to no one, of how they saved you a place in their routine without even realizing it. You tell them about the morning you cried for no reason, because now you understand your soul was missing theirs. Every little detail feels holy, because it is. Everything has led to this, not just one morning, but the beginning of all your mornings. Shared, whole, sacred. From now on, they'll never wake without you, even if you're traveling, even if you're across the room, even if you're still asleep. Your presence will be their peace, their first thought, their anchor, their answer, and yours will be them. Because this is not ordinary, this is legacy. Two souls waking in the light they once waited for, now wrapped in it, now rising inside it, together. Comment, "We wake in the light together." If your soul knows, the wait wasn't a delay, it was preparation for mornings like this, and now your time is near, the sun will rise, and when it does, you will not be alone. When you finally share that first sunrise together, the déjà vu will take your breath away. You'll sit beside them, quiet, still, reverent, and suddenly feel like time is folding in on itself, as if the light knows you, as if the sky has been waiting for this moment too. The way the light hits your faces will feel eerily familiar, so precise, so perfect, so remembered. Because you've both seen this moment 1,000 times before, not just imagined it, but felt it in those half-remembered dreams where you woke up too quickly to hold on to the vision. In those flashes of peace that hit you for no reason as you stirred your coffee. In those inexplicable yearnings at dawn, when your heart pulled toward something you couldn't name. Now you'll know. It was this very morning, this very view, this very breath beside them, and they'll feel it too. You'll both sit there, not saying much, because language will feel too small to carry what's unfolding. It's not just light pouring through the window, it's memory, it's prophecy, it's fulfillment. The angels will smile as they check this off their divine to-do list. Another promise kept, another prayer answered, another soul promise fulfilled. They'll gather around your space, soft, glowing, unseen, watching with tender joy, because they remember. They remember the years you each sat in different places, wondering when this would come. They remember the mornings you both cried in private, not knowing why beauty sometimes hurt. They remember the loneliness you refused to give into. They remember your faith, your softness, your waiting. And now, they witness your reward, two souls no longer wandering, no longer wishing, rooted now, reunited, at peace. From solitary sunrises to shared ones, from unconscious longing to conscious devotion. You'll feel it in your bodies, how natural it is. Your shoulders leaning into one another like they've always known how to meet. Your breaths falling into sync as if they've been practicing in separate rooms for years, and truly, they have. This isn't new. It's just new to your eyes, but to your soul. This is old, ancient, ordained. This is why no beautiful moment is ever wasted in God's economy. Nothing is lost. Nothing is random. Nothing is forgotten. Every golden morning you thought was just for you was actually being multiplied. The joy you felt alone, it was recorded, saved, stacked up like treasure, so it could pour down like oil on the day you'd finally share it. Together. Every sunrise you each experienced alone was simply the universe gathering materials, like threads, like colors, like music, to build the foundation for the morning now unfolding. The light, the peace, the air, it will all feel so intentional, because it is. God wastes nothing, especially not longing, especially not love. Your past mornings weren't lonely for no reason. They were sacred ground, preparing you, opening you, expanding your capacity to hold joy when it finally arrived. And now, joy is sitting beside you, with sleepy eyes, with a gentle voice, with a smile that feels like a place you've always known but never been. You'll both reach for your cups, hands brushing, and this time no chill runs through you. Only warmth, only safety. Only the steady hum of rightness. You'll sip slowly. You won't talk much. Not because there's nothing to say, but because the silence is enough. Your soul doesn't need noise to understand love. It just needs presence. And presence is everywhere. In the steam curling between you. In the way they glance at you with eyes that feel like home. In the way your fingers stay close, even when your hands rest still. You'll look out the window, and the sunrise will glow brighter, as if heaven itself is leaning in to bless you again, and in your heart you'll whisper, "I remember this. This was always meant to be ours." They'll say the same. You'll both feel it, that you've been walking toward this morning since before you even had a name for each other. And now, you have names, you have presence, you have skin and voice and breath beside you, no longer imagined. Now shared, now held, now honored, you'll reach for their hand. They won't flinch. They'll wrap their fingers around yours like they've always known how, because they have. You've held each other in invisible ways for a very long time. Now the holding is tangible, real, and nothing will ever feel the same. Again, every morning from here forward will be laced with sacred memory. Not the kind that looks back, but the kind that expands forward. From this point on, you rise together. You witness beauty together. You build days. You plant peace. You speak light into each other's beginning. And the sunrise, it will never feel like just light again. It will feel like God winking, like the angels whispering, "Look, this was always the plan." You'll walk barefoot across the room. They'll follow behind, smiling as if the light itself came to life and walked ahead of them. You'll both pause, not to capture the moment, but to feel it. Because now you know what it means to sit through years of beautiful mornings, alone, and finally wake up in one you never want to end. Comment. Every sunrise was leading to this. If your soul knows that love this true was always written in the light, because now light has a new meaning. It means us. It means home. It means we made it, and every sunrise after this will be seen through the eyes of someone who remembers what it felt like to wait, and now knows what it means to rise in love at last.